Blessings, beloveds. Welcome back to my channel, Anastasia, Cosmic Astrologer, with you today. Okay, I'm feeling really upbeat and really optimistic today. I've been tuning into this Sagittarius energy that's about to kick in. So today's video is actually going to be on Jupiter, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about Jupiter going through the houses, transiting, and what that means, obviously, when you have Jupiter going through the houses. Today I'll cover 1 to 6 because I've got a fair bit to get through, and then I'll follow up with another video to do the remainder of the houses. Now, I've got a new mic, guys, so hopefully you can hear me nice and clearly. I do appreciate that the quality of the sound wasn't great in quite a few of my last videos because I didn't have a mic. I was using my computer audio system, which is pretty crappy actually. So anyway, I've resolved that issue, and I appreciate your patience because I'm really loving doing these videos and offering you guys, you know, some guidance, some assistance if I can, and just more awareness generally. So, okay, Jupiter. Now, Jupiter goes into Sagittarius, as I said in the previous video, on the 9th of November, and that's only just, you know, around about a week away or so. Before that, we'll have Mercury going to Sag. That'll be a lovely, uplifting position in terms of our conversations that we're having in general. You know, there'll just be a more bounce in our words, in our thoughts, in our perception of things as well. But when Jupiter goes into Sag, you know, he's going to spend 1 year, obviously, in Sagittarius. So we're going to have that beautiful, lovely, bountiful, expansive energy, you know, for the next 12 months. Now, the next 12 months for all of us is going to be really amazing. You know, regardless of what we're going through, all of us will benefit from Jupiter in Sagittarius. Why? Because Jupiter in Sagittarius is in his own home sign. It's his natural domain. And Jupiter is a benefic. You know, I mean, it's when you have a planet in his own or her own domain, there's always a really sort of elevated beneficial component to that energy, especially though when you're talking about a benefic. Now, Jupiter is the greater benefic, as we say in the world of astrology. And what does that mean? That just means that the character of Jupiter and the psychological makeup that it sort of, you know, evokes from within us is all related to our confidence and our sense of faith, you know, in ourselves and in life, you know. So when we have a Jupiter transit in the sign of Sag, it's just going to draw out the best, the absolute best from Sagittarius for you, basically. So you will have Sagittarius obviously somewhere in your chart. So that area of life for you is going to be really fruitful, beneficial, and it will expand. You will have a lot of confidence, a lot of energy, you know, doors will open, new things coming, new connections, associations, all sorts of stuff's going to happen. Very much around learning as well, growing, traveling, expanding on those levels, connecting with people that come from other cultures, benefiting from those connections and those relationships. So there's a lot going on in terms of what Jupiter can offer. And because, as I said, it's the greater benefic, it literally implies that it cannot bring harm. Jupiter cannot bring harm. So the only precaution that we do need to take with Jupiter is to not sort of go in excess with things, you know, because there can be a tendency to have really huge expectations and maybe overspend on things, for instance, you know, when it comes to the material world. Now, I'll talk about that when I get to house 2. So let me just get a little bit more comfortable here. Okay. So let's get going with house 1. Now, house 1 is a really fantastic transit to be experiencing with Jupiter because it really marks a new journey, a new cycle that's beginning for you in your life. So if you've got Sag rising and you've got Jupiter coming over your ascendant, if you've been going through you know, quite a challenging time, you know, whether that's personally or professionally, whatever the case may be, this is going to uplift your spirits in ways that it'll boost your confidence. It'll give you a greater sense of faith about your own self, about life in general. It's about new beginnings. You know, the first house is always about stepping into new beginnings. So this is a brand new beginning for you, brand new cycle where you can feel a greater sense of assurance within yourself. You feel more secure within yourself at this point in time to venture out. You know, it could be things that you've been working on. Now's the time you will feel a lot more confident to further develop those, to expand those. Or if you're starting new things at this time, it's a beautiful time to start new things. A lot of confidence. It's also about self-discovery. You know, you will be in a position to discover so much more about your own self in a real truthful way. It's a beautiful experience. Extreme confidence, optimism. People are going to love your vibe. They're going to love your energy. They'll be drawn to you because you will exude this tremendous confidence and faith and courage, and optimism. You know, your mood's just so elevated. Your mood just takes these high levels. Nothing really gets you down during this time. Doesn't matter what's going on in the world. You maintain a stance within your own self. It's naturally there because Jupiter just boosts your mood, essentially, how you feel, how you see the world, how you see yourself. You know, how you make connections with people during this time as well. You make connections through this greater sense of confidence about your own self. You know, there's a sense of assurance. You know, so people feel that, and people are drawn to that from you. It's a very powerful impression that you leave on other people. Hence why it's a really beneficial time when you're talking about making connections and building relationships at this time. It can be personal relationships. It can just be associations, connections you make with people that basically help you further enhance what you're doing in your life right now. It's also a beautiful energy to express your talents at this time. As I said, it's looking at the truth of who you really are now, you know. It's a time to really learn and gain new experiences, put yourself out there. There's so much growth that can come to you from the risks that you take now. I'm not saying be silly, right? When I say risks, you know, risk is part of life. As I said in the previous video, being born is a risk. Anything can happen at birth. So life is a risk. But the point is, when we're touched by Jupiter, we have a lot more faith and sense of security and confidence to take risks and to do things and to explore ventures that we otherwise wouldn't, because our confidence is really, really high at this time. As I said, benefits can come through connections that you make at this time. It's also about your spiritual dimensions. Expanding your spiritual experiences can be really, really powerful during this time. So whatever you choose to get into at this time, it's a fortunate path ahead for you. Relationships grow to your advantage at this time. So think about the next 12 months, because this is how you're going to feel essentially for the next 12 months. There's so much development and growth that can come. It's a beautiful, beautiful transit. Jupiter's beautiful in any house anyway, but that's essentially in short what it means in the first house. Now the second house is all about the material world. So it's about expanding and growth and opportunity with regards to your material world. Now that comes in a few different layers. It's about your income, you know, your cash flow. It's about your investments. And on a much deeper level, it's about what you value within your own self-worth and your own value. And generally what you value out there as well, you know, whether that's music, whether that's or artistry in all the various forms. It could be nature, you know, all the things that you value take on a whole different elevated position now. You know, there's a greater sense of confidence about all those things, a greater sense of enjoyment about those things, because Jupiter, you know, he's the jovial one. So Jupiter brings joy, brings abundance, and whatever he touches, he expands. It's in the second house, it's about realizing your own worth and value. You realize your own worth and value in such a way that you haven't really realized it before. So it's a great sense of boost and confidence in your own self-worth and what you know you're really worth. So you could be in a position where you're being underpaid, or you know, you're not being valued enough in a situation, whether it's a work situation or relationship. Now during this time you have a greater sense of your own worth and value, so that comes through. And you know, whatever comes through, people respond to. I've said this before, you know, what we perceive out there is very much comes from within. You know, what we believe about ourselves and what energy we vibrate within gets projected out there. So this is beautiful to really boost your self-esteem and self-worth during this time. Be wise about any decisions you make regarding investments and money at this time, because there will be an urge to want to expand on that level, whether it's buying property, whether it's investing in, financial matters, trading, all those sorts of things. You feel so confident at this time, so you're prepared to take those greater risks. And that's fine, because likely the outcome will be very positive for you, but it is always wise to have a little bit of precaution in there. You don't want to overdo it, because Jupiter can have the tendency to make us overdo things, right? So it's a really positive time to make also the necessary changes or adjustments in your financial world and how you are dealing with finances. The changes that you make during this time are going to really, really benefit you, and they're going to set sort of the pathway for you in terms of how you can expand that further and how you can grow from that as well. So plan wisely is what I would say. It's a really powerful transit for getting what you want with Jupiter in the second house. And when I say getting what you want, I just want to elaborate on that. Think really, really carefully about what it is you truly want at this point in your life, because the chances are you will get it. So you don't want to waste the energy on just being extravagant. Ooh. Sorry for that interruption, guys. I forgot to plug in my laptop. Okay, so I'm back. Yes, I was just finishing up on the second house. I was saying be careful about how you spend your money, because you're in a position where you just feel a lot more confident about investments and purchases and things of that nature. There's an innate sense of, I'm going to be fine with this, and I'm going to really benefit from this, and that's true. You will, but it is wise to take some precaution as well. That's right. And I was talking about going for what you really want now, and I said that be careful with that, because we can just go for things that we don't really want. Sometimes it can be external pressures, or being swayed by the power of the media, in advertisements and this and that and the other, and whatever the case. Just be really clear on what you really want, because you have the opportunity to have it now. So it's best to invest wisely, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, house 3. This is a lovely transit as well. This has all got to do with your learning. It's got to do with the connections that you make in your immediate environment as well. So it's a very busy period when Jupiter goes through the third house. You're likely to make a lot more connections, whether that's online, just, your local gym, your local pub, wherever. There's a greater sense of understanding people at this time as well, in ways that you were never able to understand before. There's a real level and ability of appreciation of differences in people during this time as well. When it comes to writing, speaking, teaching, and learning, this is a really, really powerful time. So if you're a writer, if you want to take on some studies, if you want to become a speaker of some sort, whether it's creating your own YouTube channel or whether it's just speaking in group work that you do, just your overall general communication is going to really, really improve at this time. You're going to experience an abundance of confidence in your ability to articulate and communicate and share information that's going to be really useful for others as well. And you will equally learn from others on these levels as well. So be very open to that. Travel is also very possible during this time. Lots of travel, mainly short distance travel. That's why I said it's a very, very busy period. But the travel can be connected to whatever it is that's expanding and growing and developing for you through this third house energy. Relationships with siblings and relatives are really, really beautiful at this time. There may be some benefits that come to you through the relationship of one of your siblings or one of your relatives. Something can really pop up there that brings an opportunity to you. So be receptive to that. And if you've had, some relationships that haven't been so great with a sibling, well, this is probably the time for it to really repair. There's just a very, very beautiful connection at this time that the two of you can make. There's a sense of confidence that comes up through both of you, and you're able to see things in a greater light. You know, that if there was any negativity or limiting sort of perceptions or thoughts on perhaps arguments or whatever the case, well, that all just gets thrown out the window now, because there's a sense of seeing things from a much more expanded view, a lot more confidence, and just feeling happier in general. It's also about your perceptions. You know, your consciousness expands during this time. Your perceptions change. Any limiting thoughts that you've had that, you know, kept you limited, you know, kept you stuck, kept you fearful of maybe doing this or connecting with that, or stepping into that field of learning, or whatever the case, well, that all goes out the window now. Jupiter comes in and gives you that confidence to step into any of those things where you can expand your consciousness and learn a lot more. Yeah, pretty much covered that. Okay, house 4. House 4 is beautiful. It's all about your inner confidence, deep, deep, deep inner confidence. Now, the 4th house is family, home life, your private space, your sacred space, family relationships, the actual home that you live in. But on a deeper, you know, on a deeper level, it's the home within yourself. You know, it's that relationship that you have to the inner world, to your inner life. So this is a wonderful transit, really, because when Jupiter goes through the 4th, the deepest part of your inner self experiences Jupiter uplifting that deeper part of who you are. So there's a lot of personal self-improvement that comes through Jupiter in the 4th house. On an external level, you know, you could move home at this time, or you could just really expand the current home that you're in. There's a need and an urge and a desire to want to expand your actual physical space, your home space. And there's the opportunity to do that. You may want to invest in property at this time that you may not want to live in. This is also a good transit for that kind of thing. Although if you were going to do something like that, I would encourage you to have an actual reading from me or anybody else, and just get more of a bigger picture understanding of everything else that's happening in your chart as well. But generally speaking, Jupiter in the 4th house, I've seen it many times. People move home, or they buy a new home, or they expand their current home. Family relationships will really improve at this time as well. So if there's been a bit of tension in the home, you know, whether it's with your partner or whether you're living at home with your parents, that will smooth out now, and there'll just be an overall sense of people feeling generous towards each other, more loving and giving to each other during this time. So family relationships generally improve, basically. Your personal home life basically improves. Now, if you are at a point in your life where you really are reaching out there in the external world and really creating and developing things externally through your profession, you know, whether it doesn't matter what profession it is, doesn't matter, or whatever work you do, doesn't matter. It's when Jupiter goes into your 4th, there's a sense of your home life, your personal life feels so good. It feels so balanced. So when you go out and do the stuff that you need to go and do out there, there's no stress about what's going on in the home life. There's a beautiful sense of timing and balance that occurs with this energy, with your home life, personal life, and your professional life out there, whatever that is. Basically, because Jupiter is the planet that whatever it touches in our chart, that area of life, we feel very, very supported. You know, it's and that support will show up, you know, through the people in our life or the job that we're in. So our external circumstances will reflect that. But on a more profound and deeper level, it's feeling supported within your own self from the divine, really, from something greater than yourself. There's this sense of protection and safety and support when Jupiter touches something in your chart. So it's a beautiful, beautiful energy. So a lot of benefit and growth can come from your own personal inner development during this time, and also through your relationships and the relationships you have at home with family members and so forth. A lot of growth, a lot of joyful times, happy times. People are feeling good during this time. It's a good time to put your roots down as well, you know, to really cement things further in stabilizing yourself with wherever you are in your life. Because there's a great sense of belonging that comes through with Jupiter in the 4th house. Okay, Jupiter in the 5th, this is really nice as well. This is all obviously about creativity, self-expression. So there's an abundance of ability now for your creative expression to come through. So if you're a shy person, if you haven't had much confidence in your creativity, artistic forte, whatever that may be, this is a time where you're going to feel really confident and really uplifted to actually express your talents and your gifts. You're ready to now show them to people, to show them to the world, as it were. So whatever you've been hiding about yourself now will come to light in that beautiful, expressive way. Relationships can start at this time as well. And if they do, there's an incredible sexual expression that comes through. That the sexual energy really blooms in a really beautiful way while Jupiter's going through the 5th house, because there's a sense within you where you feel like you don't have to hold back now. You feel like you can really express yourself and express that beautiful creative energy within you, whether that's through your creative talents and abilities, or whether that's through a sexual intimate encounter with somebody, because the 5th house is the house of procreation. It's the house of sexuality as well. It doesn't often get looked at as the house of sexuality, but it actually is. If you have children, your relationship with your children will be really beautiful during this time, because you will have an ability to actually support them in ways that you haven't been able to before. The relationships will really grow and expand, and you can give them what they need at this time. So your kids are going to love that. Artistic abilities will find a greater sense of play and expression during this time. You could also make money during this time through your creative talents. This is a really positive time to, if that's what you need to do with your creativity, Jupiter is going to help you with that. Attracting new relationships is a definite possibility during this time. Now, personal growth is really the overall expression of this, because the 5th house has got to do with our creative expression, and that's connected to our personal growth, really. So the talents and the gifts, any artistic ability you have, people limit themselves by making the assumption that you need to be you need to be Picasso before you can be appreciated as an artist, or whatever. You need to be Jimi Hendrix playing the guitar. No, there's many different levels of creativity. We are all gifted with something that enables us to express our creative self. So this is a beautiful transit to help you tap into that and bring that out into light and be appreciated for it, and really benefit and grow from it. Okay, Jupiter in the 6th house. Now, this is great for health. The 6th house is the house of mind-body connection. It's about your health overall. If you've had health issues, if you've had an operation, if you've had some difficulties around health and it's been challenging for you to recover or to heal, well, Jupiter is really going to aid you and assist you during this time. It's a great transit to get that, to find a really beautiful balance with your health regime or routine or whatever it may be. It's an opportunity to really learn and grow from, exploring more about what it is you may need to integrate into just the way you live, the way you eat, the way you sleep, all those things. There's a lot of benefit and opportunities. Things come to you during this time around all of that. And there's an interest, there's a sense of confidence about stepping into that and wanting to understand more and grow, through that field. So if you're some kind of health clinician, this is an amazing transit. But even if you're not, even if you're just working on your own personal health, which we all should be, really, then this is going to really inspire you and give you confidence to experience things that you haven't really been able to before, and to understand things that you haven't been able to before. It's also great when it comes to your work, your everyday work situation, because the confidence that you have during this time, people can feel that, people can see that. So there's opportunity for promotion and growth in your current workplace. and that may or may not come, because sometimes that can depend on other things in your chart as well. But if a promotion doesn't come, there'll be an overall sense of real satisfaction in what you're doing, you know. So if you've been kind of down in the dumps or feeling like you just, you know, it's just like the daily grind kind of thing, that will lift now. You know, Jupiter will uplift you. You'll feel more confident. You'll feel more just happier in whatever work situation you are in. And there's definitely benefits that can come out of that, because your confidence is so beautiful at this time. People see that, managers will see it, peers will see it, you know, and there can be offerings and, you know, opportunities that can come as a result of that. Vitality is huge when Jupiter's in the sixth house. Your vitality is increased, so your energy is increased. That's pretty awesome, because we're always looking to make ourselves, I think, feel more vital, especially as we get older. So having Jupiter transiting your sixth is wonderful for that. Just be careful to not overindulge, though, while Jupiter's in this sixth house, because, well, you know, there can be a sense of overindulgence with Jupiter transiting in any house. So that's a mental note to make through whatever house Jupiter is transiting. Okay, so that's the first 6 houses. I'll leave it there for today, and I'll be back with houses 7 till 12. And then I will possibly do a couple more videos on if you're a sun sign Sag, what does that mean, having Jupiter going over your sun? If you have your moon in Sag, probably throw in Venus, Mercury, and Mars. I'll see how I go. I want to give you guys as much as I can just to help you through, you know, the next 12 months. And it's not, you won't need help, because Jupiter touching anything in your chart in Sagittarius, that's the blessing coming from the divine. That's the abundant, benefic energy blessing your life over the next 12 months, enriching your life, expanding your life, giving you confidence and courage, and awesome adventures and experiences, you know, and just a general attitude of feeling confident and ready to take the next step. Now, you know, before this video, I went to the gym and I bumped into just somebody who trains at my gym, and he's Sagittarius, and he was, you know, the Sagittarians are there. It's so obvious to, you know, their body language is they bounce. When they walk, they just bounce, you know, they don't just walk. There's this bounciness that comes through them, and he's just bouncing down the stairs. I'm walking up and he's bouncing down. And we just have a bit of a chit chat, and he says to me, "Guess what? I resigned from my work yesterday." And you know, he was so excited about that. And I said to him, because we've had many chats, and he doesn't know anything about astrology, but I just give him a little bit here and a little bit there, and he always listens. I said to him, "Well, that's because Jupiter is about to hit your sun, and you now have the confidence and the courage to take that step because he's been wanting to resign for the last 12 months, and he's finally done it." So he's done it just before Jupiter goes into Sag, which is really lovely. Anyway, that's just one example. So that's the energy, you know, that's the energy that's going to be created over the next 12 months, really, for all of us. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope this audio has been an improvement from past videos, and I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Look forward to doing the next video and giving you guys the insight that you need for the rest of you that have Jupiter transiting in above the horizon, so the rest of the houses. Please leave your comments and questions below, and please subscribe if you haven't. I, you know, appreciate the support, and please feel free to contact me for a reading. You know, this can be a wonderful time to have a reading while Jupiter goes in Sag. It can really just give you that greater a greater sort of level of depth about what's happening for you personally in your own chart. This is a good intro. This can give you something, but it's always great to have a personal reading. Much love and blessings. See you soon, guys. Thank you.